In May 2005, my life was altered drastically, but I've discovered in your darkest hour, the confusion that shrouds your daily existence can become overwhelming. During the recording of my new album, Black Roses, I was diagnosed with sudden severe hearing loss.
What really happened to Foxy Brown? Her rise was explosive, but her crash was even louder. From assaults and probation violations that landed her in jail to violent outbursts on cruise ships and salon meltdowns that made front-page headlines. She was accused of throwing phones at neighbors, attacking journalists. The list kept growing. Her legal issues spiraled out of control, and so did her reputation. Diva demands, public tantrums, and backstage drama made even her fans step back. And in a heartbreaking twist, she lost nearly all her hearing in 2005. So what happened to the Brooklyn-born rapper who once had the crown within reach? Did she destroy her own legacy? Or was she another victim of fame's brutal spotlight? Where is she now after years of silence, scandal, and setbacks? Born Inga Marchand in Brooklyn's Park Slope neighborhood, Foxy Brown was raised by Trinidadian immigrant parents and always believed she was built for something bigger. In a New York Post interview, she recalled watching peers fall into cycles of teen pregnancy and welfare. "That wasn't going to be my story," she said. While her original dream was to become a criminal justice lawyer, destiny had other plans. By age 14, her rhymes started turning heads. DJ Clark Kent and Tone from Trackmasters saw something special and started grooming her for the spotlight. She started off performing as Queen Nefertiti, then Big Shorty, and even scored a brief deal with Capitol Records. That didn't last, but her fire never dimmed. According to Vibe, she later changed her name again to AKA but was eventually dropped. Still hungry, she approached Bad Boy Records, but even Puff Daddy passed on her. Undeterred, Inga rebranded herself once more, this time borrowing the name Foxy Brown from Pam Grier's 1974 film icon. She reinvented her sound too, mixing high-end fashion references, mafia fantasy, and explicit, sexually charged lyrics. At just 15, she linked up with an older, rising rapper named Jay-Z, and they began to make waves together. With industry giant like Chris Lighty, Steve Stout, and Tone backing her, it wasn't long before she landed a verse on LL Cool J's remix of I Shot YA. At just 17, her raw, unfiltered verse made jaws drop. On the I Shot YA remix, Foxy rapped openly about unprotected sex and being disease-infested, a line that shocked and cemented her wild style. Meanwhile, across the borough, Kimberly Jones, a.k.a. Lil' Kim, was on her own grind. Foxy told Vibe they used to stay on the phone until sunrise, plotting how they'd dominate hip-hop. They made a pact, always support each other. After linking with Biggie, Kim became the face of Junior MAFIA. But according to DJ Clark Kent, Foxy was originally considered for that crew, though the plan fizzled. Still, the two young queens kept it cordial. One day, Kim was on a call with Nas and AZ when she decided to add Foxy so she could show off her bars. Foxy later told Bet that AZ was so blown away, he immediately drove to her Brooklyn block to meet her in person. He even introduced her to Nas face-to-face. Nas, speaking years later on Drink Champs, said, "She's beautiful, she's got bars, she's gonna win." He flew her to L.A. to meet Jimmy Iovine at Interscope. She didn't sign, but she didn't need to. Nas knew she was destined to shine. They remained close friends, and on Rap City, Foxy said Nas gave her the nickname Nana, which she later flipped to Nana, a bold, sexy persona she embraced. Foxy's style only kept rising. She laid down a defining verse on Jay-Z's Ain't No, which ended up on the Nutty Professor soundtrack. That track alone helped launch both their careers into overdrive. Not long after, she teamed up with R&B singer Case on the hit Touch Me, Tease Me, further proving her range beyond rap. Foxy Brown was no longer just a Brooklyn MC. She was becoming a household name. But behind the spotlight, pressure was mounting. Fame, youth, and attitude collided, and the cracks were starting to show. Fox's star power was undeniable, and as her fame skyrocketed, the industry took notice. A fierce bidding war broke out between major labels. Even Puffy came crawling back, trying to sign her after previously passing. But Foxy chose Def Jam, and the rest was history. As her career exploded, so did rumors about her personal life. The tabloids linked her to Jay-Z, NBA star Allen Iverson, and even Master P. But in 1996, it was a romance with West Coast rapper Curup that took center stage, a relationship that started with promise but would eventually spiral into chaos. That same year became a landmark moment for women in rap. On November 12, 1996, Lil' Kim dropped her now-classic debut album Hardcore. Just 1 week later, Foxy clapped back with Il Na Na. Her debut entered the Billboard 200 at number 7, a massive achievement. The album featured hits like Get Me Home with Blackstreet and I'll Be with Jay-Z. Within months, the project went platinum, cementing Foxy as one of the hottest rappers in the game. In February 1997, she and Kim graced a cover of The Source magazine. But behind the scenes, the cracks were starting to show. Journalist Michael Gonzalez, who interviewed them separately for The Source, noticed a major contrast. He described Lil' Kim as sweet, like someone's little sister. But Foxy? Total diva. She allegedly refused a ride in a Lincoln Town car and demanded a limo instead. The tension was growing, and so were the headlines. Just 1 month earlier, while promoting her album in North Carolina, Foxy was arrested after spitting on 2 Holiday Inn workers and threatening to hit one with a fishbowl over missing iron. After skipping her court date, she got a suspended sentence and 80 hours of community service. The image of the rising rap queen was starting to unravel. Still, Foxy kept pushing forward. That same year, she teamed up with Nas, AZ, and Nature to form the firm. The group dropped 1 album before disbanding, and Foxy quickly pivoted back to her solo career. In January 1999, she returned with her sophomore project, China Doll, featuring the gritty track Dog and a Fox with DMX. The album shot straight to number 1 on the Billboard 200, making history once again. To celebrate, Foxy appeared on the cover of Vibe magazine and opened up about her engagement to Curup. But shortly after, she accused a Vibe writer of printing lies and allegedly physically assaulted them. By the time the Vibe issue hit stands, Foxy and Curup's fairy tale was already falling apart. Curup later told The Breakfast Club that everything was fine until he heard rumors that Foxy had cheated on him with DMX. The betrayal allegedly led him to call off their engagement. Foxy, however, denied the affair in a fiery interview with Wendy Williams, claiming he had spread the rumors out of jealousy. Meanwhile, Curup moved on quickly, getting into a relationship with Natina Reed from the R&B group Block. But for Foxy, things were about to take an even darker turn. In March 2000, Foxy was behind the wheel of her Range Rover in Brooklyn when disaster struck. Her brakes failed, causing her to lose control and crash into a fence. "The brakes went out and I just lost control of the Range Rover," she later explained. According to MTV News, she was hospitalized and cited for driving with a suspended license. Around that time, reports claimed she quietly entered rehab for an addiction to prescription pills. While she battled her demons in private, another war was erupting in public. Her long-simmering feud with Lil' Kim had officially exploded. What started as mutual respect between 2 female MCs had turned into all-out warfare. Their once close bond had eroded, and now they were trading insults on wax. The tension hit a boiling point in February 2001 outside the Hot 97 radio station in New York. Lil' Kim's crew clashed with Capone's entourage, and Fox's name was at the center of the drama. The argument, allegedly sparked by Fox's verse on Capone and Norega's Bang Bang, ended with gunfire. One of Capone's associates was shot. Foxy tried to extend an olive branch after the violence, but Kim was done and refused her apology. In the end, it was Lil' Kim who paid the price for the infamous Hot 97 incident. She was sentenced to a year in jail for lying under oath about what really happened that day. Meanwhile, Foxy Brown was still trying to push forward. In July 2001, she dropped her 3rd studio album, Broken Silence, which debuted at number 5 on the Billboard charts. The project featured a fresh new sound, influenced by her romance with dancehall star Spragga Benz. Tracks like Oh Yeah and None Be Like brought the Caribbean vibes, and even earned Grammy nods. It looked like Foxy had found a new chapter, but trouble was never far behind. In 2002, the chaos followed her overseas. Foxy was arrested at Jamaica's Norman Manley International Airport after allegedly punching a police officer in the stomach. The arrest further fueled her reputation as unpredictable and volatile. By 2003, her professional life hit another devastating low. During a candid interview with Wendy Williams, Foxy revealed that her much-hyped album Il Nunna 2, The Fever, had been shelved indefinitely. The project, a planned joint release with Bad Boy and Def Jam, was dead in the water. And to make matters worse, Foxy learned that Diddy secretly owned half a contract. Furious and blindsided, Foxy negotiated her way out of the Def Jam deal, but the fallout was personal. She later confessed that the stress from the label drama led to a miscarriage. At the same time, her engagement to Spragga Benz crumbled. In 2004, their relationship officially ended. Then came yet another headline. Foxy was arrested for allegedly assaulting 2 nail salon workers over a $20 bill. She was sentenced to 3 years probation and ordered into anger management. Just when it seemed like everything was falling apart, a familiar face came back into the picture, Jay-Z. Later that year, Jay-Z became CEO of Def Jam and made a bold move. He re-signed Foxy to the label, promising to resurrect her career. The future looked hopeful until 2005. One morning, Foxy woke up and couldn't hear. She had gone to bed perfectly normal, but by the next day, her world was silent. Doctors diagnosed her with sudden hearing loss caused by a rare viral infection. She underwent surgery in 2006 in hopes of restoring her hearing. According to MTV News, the procedure worked partially, but she would need hearing aid for the rest of her life. Still, she refused to give up. Foxy vowed to drop a new album by the end of 2006, but instead of a comeback, more drama arrived. In February 2007, she was arrested yet again, this time for throwing hair glue and spitting on a beauty supply employee. Around that time, she began dating Timothy Collier, a man who seemed supportive, until she discovered the truth. Timothy wasn't just a regular guy. He was a low-level pimp. Furious and heartbroken, Foxy ended the relationship immediately. But Collier retaliated in the most brutal way possible. He sent 3 of his workers to attack her in broad daylight. The women ambushed Foxy, ripped out her weave, stole her purse containing $500, and even took her hearing aid. Though Foxy initially worked with investigators, she later refused to testify, and prosecutors had no choice but to drop the case. But her string of bad luck continued. In August 2007, she got into an argument with a neighbor who complained about her blasting music. Foxy responded by allegedly throwing a BlackBerry at the woman, knocking out a tooth. The neighbor was granted a restraining order, but things spiraled even further from there. Just days after posting bail, Foxy was pulled over for driving while talking on her phone. But that wasn't all. She gave police a fake name, was driving with a suspended license, and had expired registration. Still, she wasn't ready to quit music. In 2007, Foxy launched her own label, Black Rose Entertainment, and signed with Car Records. Her comeback album Brooklyn's Don Diva was scheduled for release that same year, followed by Black Roses in 2008. But her legal issues continued to sabotage her momentum. A judge finally had enough and revoked her probation. In August 2007, the court sentenced Foxy Brown to 8 months in jail after she violated probation by traveling without permission and assaulting her neighbor. Just 1 week after being released, she was back in court again. This time, she pleaded no contest to the beauty supply store assault and was sentenced to 6 months probation. Even with everything going wrong, Foxy refused to stop. In May 2008, she finally released Brooklyn's Don Diva, a raw, unapologetic album that reflected everything she had survived. But by then, the game had changed, and Fox's comeback was anything but guaranteed. An album she had long hoped would be her comeback finally dropped, Brooklyn's Don Diva, but the buzz around its release was soon drowned out by industry gossip. Whispers swirled that Foxy was now engaged in none other than Rick Ross. And though Rick played coy, he didn't deny it outright. Laughing to MTV News, he said, "The engagement is speculation. I'm married to the money." For a while, Foxy laid low, but by July 2010, she was once again making headlines, this time for violating a restraining order. The neighbor who had the order claimed that Foxy cursed her out over a dirty look, then lifted her skirt and mooned her in the middle of the street. The charges were eventually dropped, but the bizarre incident only added to Fox's ever-growing rap sheet. In February 2011, she was set to perform at a high-profile fashion show in New York, but showed up late, allegedly drunk, and then locked herself in a bathroom, refusing to come out. Security had to remove her. Just a month later, the chaos followed her onto a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, where she performed, and then promptly caused another scene. She reportedly arrived over 3 hours late to a nail appointment on board the ship. When staff refused service, Foxy exploded in a rage. Crew security was forced to intervene, and she was confined to her cabin for the rest of the trip. Once the ship docked in the Cayman Islands, she was escorted off and flown back to the U.S. After that, she faded from the spotlight until 2013, when an unverified blog claimed she had spilled shocking secrets at a baby shower, accusing Jay-Z of having an STD and being into trans women. Foxy denied every word, calling the entire story fabricated and disgusting. Even Jay-Z brushed off the rumors in his 2013 track Picasso Baby. But just when it seemed Foxy was gone for good, she re-emerged in 2017, right in the middle of Nicki Minaj and Remy Ma's vicious rap feud. Some called her a clout chaser, claiming she was using Nicki to stay relevant. Then, in a surprising twist, Wendy Williams announced live on air that Foxy had just welcomed a baby girl. Foxy soon confirmed it on Instagram, posting a picture of her newborn daughter. Fans immediately started speculating that Spragga Benz was a baby's father after she simply captioned his photo, Daddy. Though she never confirmed his paternity, the post sent the internet into overdrive. Since becoming a mother, Foxy has kept a far lower profile, finally stepping away from the scandal cycle that once defined her. That same year, she returned to the stage for a rare performance in Los Angeles, reminding everyone of the energy and attitude that made her a legend. But whispers followed her back into the headlines. Reports began circulating that Foxy might be asked to testify in the case against Keith D., the man tied to the 1996 murder of Tupac Shakur. Sources claimed Foxy had been in the same circles as Keith D. in the days leading up to the fatal Vegas shooting. Her insight could help piece together the timeline of that night. Around the same time, rapper Keith Murray stirred the pot, claiming he and Foxy had once been romantically involved. Foxy, reportedly furious, denied everything, but Keith doubled down. "It's a truth," he said. "I'm not apologizing for my truth." Then in August 2024, scandal struck again, but this time, Foxy wasn't the headline. Her former lawyer, Salvatore Strazzolo, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. Strazzolo was accused of serious misconduct unrelated to Fox's case, but the connection dragged her name back into the tabloid trenches. While she's made efforts to reclaim her narrative, Fox's legacy remains tangled in controversy, legal turmoil, and near-mythic status in the rap world. From platinum-selling teen prodigy to headline-grabbing bad girl, her journey is one of brilliance and burnout. Today, she remains an elusive figure, a cautionary tale, a rap icon, and a mother. Whether she returns to music or chooses silence, Foxy Brown's story is one the industry won't soon forget. Then came one of the most shocking turns of all. Foxy Brown's former attorney, Salvatore Strazzolo, was found dead under mysterious circumstances, sending shockwaves through New York's legal community. Dubbed a nightlife lawyer for his flashy clientele and after-hours cases, Strazzolo was discovered lifeless in his car outside his parents' Brooklyn home. At the time, no official cause of death had been confirmed. But for Foxy, the name rang loud. Back in 2011, he defended her in the infamous Mooning the Neighbor case, a legal battle that had since become a footnote in her chaotic story. But Strazzolo's life had unraveled behind the scenes. Investigators had been circling him for years, accusing the flashy attorney of running a secret Ponzi scheme through his legal escrow accounts. Prosecutors claimed he stole over $3.8 million from elderly clients, using it to fund a lavish lifestyle filled with sports cars, designer hotels, and expensive meals. Another lawsuit alleged he took $1.5 million more from 3 additional clients in 2023. With charges ranging from grand larceny to multiple counts of fraud, Strazzolo had pleaded not guilty. His sudden death left behind more questions than answers, and a trail of financial chaos. But just when you thought the drama had peaked, Foxy was back in the headlines again, this time accused of messaging Lil' Kim's baby daddy, reigniting the decade-old rivalry fans thought had fizzled out. Then, in December 2024, the rap world was rocked by a lawsuit that named both Jay-Z and Diddy in a shocking accusation, the alleged assault of a 13-year-old girl years ago. The news exploded across social media, sparking outrage and instant speculation. Jay-Z quickly responded, slamming the claims and calling out attorney Tony Busby for what he described as a blatant blackmail attempt backed by a shady demand letter. Jay-Z's statement was blunt and emotional, denying everything and insisting the lawsuit was a disgraceful attack meant to destroy his legacy and shame his family. He said the hardest part was explaining the news cycle to his children. As the case exploded online, Foxy Brown added fuel to the fire, posting 2 cryptic Instagram stories. One said, "Wait." The other just said, "Wow." Fans instantly connected the post to a long-rumored and controversial past with Jay-Z. Whispers of an underage relationship had followed her for years, though Foxy has always fiercely denied them. Back in October, she addressed those rumors head-on with a defiant post. "Miss me with the fake news. NDA ain't a MF alive that could stop my story. NDA on my Tagon Run 100 mil." She refused to be cast as a villain in someone else's narrative, especially when it came to Jay-Z. "You'll want me to be Antihov so bad," she wrote, dismissing those eager to see her turn on her old friend. She'd done the same when Diddy was arrested, briefly reacting, then stepping back. Foxy may not speak often, but when she does, even 2 words can set the internet on fire. Now, as Jay-Z prepares for a legal war that could shape his legacy, Foxy once again finds herself caught in the orbit of controversy, whether she wants to be or not. Her name remains entangled with hip-hop's biggest power players decades after her rise. And whether she's making headlines or staying silent, Foxy Brown's story is one of rap royalty, scandal, survival, and pain. From her meteoric rise to her chaotic falls, her story remains one of the most complex in the music industry. A powerful voice, a controversial figure, and a legend in her own right. So what will be Foxy Brown's final legacy? Is she the bold trailblazer who helped redefine female rap? Or the cautionary tale of what happens when talent and turbulence collide? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive like this one. Until next time, stay tuned for more stories that shake the culture.